Hey y'all, this is Pastor Lauren here, and I'm just out and about doing some stuff this morning, reading the news, and certainly happy to hear about the changes in the policy to child separation down on our border. But honestly, I'm also still heavy-hearted about it, and I think the reason why is Tuesday. I wanted to go for a run, so I went to the gym and took the kids to 24 Hour Fitness, where I have a membership, and we have childcare there. So I took the kids and put them in childcare, and I was out on the treadmill getting going, and about 10 or 15 minutes into my run, I heard this noise over the speaker, and I took out my earplugs and heard mama mama mama, and I thought, I wonder if that's for me, and sure enough, 30 seconds later, the childcare worker comes out and she says something like, "Hey," I don't know what she said, but I just knew, "Hey, that's me." So I jumped off the treadmill and I followed her, and it turns out Jackson, my son, was crying for the last 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know, and understandably they have a policy that if the kid is inconsolable, that they grab the parent and get the parent to help. So, I got in there, and Jackson is, his face is all blotchy from crying. And it turns out, we had been with the sitter that afternoon, and just, for whatever reason, the sitter didn't put him down for a nap in the afternoon. So he was exhausted. This was 6:30 at night, so he was tired. So, I held him and comforted him, and he was fine. And as soon as I got him to his car seat, he was asleep for the rest of the night. But that experience really just kind of stuck with me, and I thought about the situation with the child separations that's been happening on our border over the last few weeks, and I thought about, especially with the news of so-called tender age facilities, where kids of 4 years old or less are taken away from their parents and put into this separate facility with just kids their age. And it literally just broke my heart as I thought about, imagine that was my son. Imagine that was my son, Jackson, crying uncontrollably and just unable to be comforted because he wants his mom, he wants his dad, he wants his parents, people he knows, he's familiar with, who love him. And I thought about, how could we do such a thing, And I just think about the words of Jesus when he said, when the children come to him and he puts the children on his lap and says, "These are treasures." And he says, whoever would hurt one of these people, one of these little ones, they'd be better off drowning than hurting one of these little ones. So it just really stuck with me, this experience with Jackson, and thinking about what's happening in the news right now. And to some extent, I guess, thankfully, that's changing to some extent, which makes me somewhat relieved. But also pains my soul to think how we could do such a thing to begin with. How people could just be like, "That's okay." And I want to say this thing, that one of the core values, or our core values of Mission Gathering Christian Church, are always going to be compassion, living out the love and compassion of Jesus. And everything we do, everything we're about, is going to be about emulating that love and compassion of Jesus. And if that's not our first kind of borderline foundational issue from what we do, or of who we are and why we do what we do, it's not just we have a difference of opinion. I think we have a difference of morality. So, it just sticks with me this morning, thinking about that, thinking about my son Jackson, how much I love him, my daughter, and how much they mean to me, and how much it would pain my soul not to be able to be there and comfort them, and how it would just rip my heart out to have them taken away from me for whatever reason. So I just want to share that this morning. It's just heavy on my heart this morning. So, thanks. Give your kids a hug. Tell them you love them, and think about your children. And if the situation's reversed, what would you do for your children? What would you want done for your children? And you know, how would you want others to treat your children? Thanks.